Onegaishimasu. Welcome back to the Goju Ryu Karate Center. Seipai, follow along and training ideas. As per a request a couple of weeks ago, I'm going to start with the kata, then I'm going to break it down, do the sections, and then we'll put it all together at the end. Seipai. Seipai, left hand over right hand. Step back with your left, block with your left hand, and strike and drop right hand. Step through with your left leg, right hand underneath, left hand underneath, right hand on top. Step through with your right leg, pull in and over, changing the line. Now your left hand is on top, right hand is underneath. Pivot your left foot, drop into 45 degrees shikodachi, raise the right elbow. Left leg is going to step through nearly dead straight, pivot the body, and you're in Kokotsu. Left hand coming down the right arm extending backwards, finishing in line with your head. Nice straight line. I'm going to do kake-uke with my left hand. When I pivot, I'm going to pull my left hand to chamber. I'm going to extend and strike with my right hand, and I've made my Zen Kosa-dachi a little bit shorter. Kick, right leg, back onto one line, and punch across the body with the left hand. Still looking forward. And immediately uraken with the left hand. I'm going to turn my foot, right leg in front, left hand underneath, right hand gedan, right hand chudan, right hand hike-uke. Right foot down, step across, turn, bring your right hand on the inside, left hand chambers, right hand pulls down, 45-degree plane. Swivel, 225 degrees. Left hand going over your head slightly, right hand small circle and striking the groin. Step through with your left, block with your left, slide up with your right, block with your right. Twist ever so slightly, straight line, double. I don't know what to call this. Let's call it a double block. Okay? Looking to your right. As you sweep, look forward. Chamber, drop, double punch. Step back on the same line, left hand gedan. 90-degree step with the right leg. Block with the right hand, raise that left hand up, slide up and block. Step through onto the left foot in front, double block, look forward, sweep, drop, double punch. Step back on a straight line, block, gedan, right hand. Right foot step across, left hand pulls in, Left hand chudan uke, right hand fura zuki. Put that left foot down, step across with the right. Drop the hand slightly. Slide up. Right hand chudan uke, left hand fura zuki. Pivot and block hike-uke. Pivot, strike, uraken. Left, pivot, block with your right. Maegeri, zuki. Maybe kiai. Step like Kikisara itch. Right hand, hike-uke. Right hand, strike, uraken. Pivot back. Block with your left hand, chudan uke. Kick, zuki. Left foot, step, turn, pull. Step through, take down, open, strike. Feet together, up, down, open right hand. Right. And maybe after this, relax. I'm going to be working on trying to just get the general movements in one direction and then changing the angle. So you're going to step back with your left foot, peel your left hand off. You're going to block with your left hand. Your right hand is going to come up. You're going to adjust the front foot slightly. And as you settle, you're going to bring the hand the last portion of its arc. So as I drop into my stance, I'm finishing the technique. Fingertips approximately eye height, left hand, palm up, solar plexus. We're going to step through. We're going to bring our left hand through, grasping underneath the right hand. When we do this, fingers over this part, thumb over there, and the left hand thumb over the knuckle. Left hand thumb over knuckle. And we're on, if we subdivide the body, this line on the left hand side. Please avoid lifting your shoulders, keep your elbows in. Step through, bend this, pull it back, and then rotate, go to the opposite line. It's sometimes more of a strike, and in some places more of a pressing motion. So the idea of pulling and turning. I now have my right foot in front, my left hand is on top. Left leg. And maybe even a little adjustment and raise that right elbow. Now, I'm inclined to bend my wrists here, but watching a lot of videos, it's quite evident that there is a general inclination to have a flat hand on the top as you raise this elbow up. We're now going to step through into Kokotsu-dachi. We're going to take our thumb and run it down the inside of the arm, and we're going to break loose or pull back. This hand is coming down, this hand going up. And our body weight is going on to the bent leg, which is at the back as we look forward. So, 1. 2 ways of doing this. Some schools prefer the round block. Some schools prefer the kake-uke. When we pivot now, as we transfer our weight, we may pull this leg in as we strike. Very important is that this hand pulls back into the chamber and its fingers down. This hand is going to strike forward. Avoid a massive strike. Reach and maybe a little bit of a pull as you tighten. So from here, 1. I know that some schools like the bent wrist. We're inclined to have in our way of doing the kata, a straight arm. From there, keep your hands still. Kick back onto one line. This hand is going to concentrate on elbow. So this hand is going to concentrate on elbow. This hand is going to concentrate on a short punch. Okay? And you're going to, although you're punching, the bunkai is more of a pressing and deflecting with this part of the arm, the bottom edge of the forearm come elbow. All right, so at this point, when I've done the strike, I'm facing the front, I'm going to go onto my left leg's line. So when I go back, I'm on my left leg's line. So when I punch, I'm in a perfectly straight line. Again, north, south, or front to back. One, bring the hand up, and uraken. Some schools, just this, but it's more up, round, and uraken, a little bit downward. Don't have this kind of thing where it's a big movement, rather smaller, a lot of wrist, a lot of whip, and stop. Your framing here is identical to Seipai. It's identical to Seipai or to Seunjin. And then we're going to pull our right leg in, and we're going to rotate for cat stance, going to the back. When I rotate, so I've done this, I'm now just changing, we're the opposite direction. When I do this, I'm going to bring that uraken hand, place it across my body, and I'm going to take my right hand and block down a gedan uke or gedan barai. One. And I'm going to do chudan uke, open my hand and press. The idea is that the attack is on your outside. So block, their hand or their arm is here. So it doesn't help to do something here. This is meaningless. You have to be grasping and pressing onto that hand. Okay? Good practice would be from here, as I start to move, I'm getting this. Then 2 and 3. Try not to bob your shoulders as you do it. I'm going to do the next step to transfer. So I'm going to step across, bend shikodachi or Kosa-dachi, and rotate behind for the next technique. Okay, let's change the angle yet again. From here, you're stepping down, stepping across as you rotate. Hand technique here. We're going to bring this hand up. This hand comes inside. It's going to turn. This hand's going to rotate and bring it down. Now, I'm doing it in front of my body at this point, so I'm going 1, 2, 3. But the idea is that it's going to be slightly on your left-hand side. So once you've gotten here, the idea in application would be more this. Because your arm would be going over, around, and under. This hand will be breaking and pulling their arm down. Kata's more flamboyant side would be that it's going up, down. So this elbow coming in is very important. And then breaking free. Critical is the position of this hand. It is below the knuckle line or the underside of the arm. It's basically thumb sticking on, not vertical, not a thumb up, and not horizontal, halfway in between. So it's a little bit of a plane, and the mechanism is this. It's the idea that you're trying to bend the person's arm. 1, 2, 3. When we rotate now, we're going to rotate from the front. We're going to swing our right foot all the way around in a big arc. And we're going to go to the back corner. So let's have a look. I think that's 225 degrees. 180 plus 45. 225 degree swivel. Okay, so we've done this. Our hands, as we move now, one hand is going to kind of come up. That would be your left hand. It's going to come around and into the chamber. So up, round, and chamber. I'm going to take this hand out the way. So it's coming up. It's like you're waving goodbye. It's going to turn, pull around. Some schools teach over the head and into the chamber. Okay, very important. Please keep your wrist bent from the moment you start this till the moment it finishes. This hand is going to go like you're waving goodbye, round, next to the leg, and strike. Some schools are inclined to have a very, very strong whipping technique at the end. Okay, some schools, straight hand. Right, don't finish too far in front. When we finish, our leg and our hand, we're going to end up in this position. So we're here, we're going to swivel around, we're going to go around and strike, and you want to finish in Sanchin Dutch. Okay, so let's run through that twisty-turny part one more time. I'm going to do it at a different angle so you can maybe get a better view. I'm here, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, over and around, 1, 2. For me, that's pretty much the crux move in Seipai Kata. And for most people, that's the movement that's going to need the most work and the most polishing. Once we've turned, we're going to be starting the next section. And this section is repeated both left and right side. So there's symmetry to the next part. We're going to step. As we step, we're going to block down. This hand is going to come up. And as this foot slides up, this hand is going to come across the body. Some schools like a big movement. Some schools prefer a more direct movement. The stepping is the same as the idea in Seiyunshin, where you move and you are striking. This hand is blocking on the outside line. This hand must also block on the outside line. There's no point in stopping here. My hand position, probably in front. So I'm going to step through. As I step through, my legs are going to touch. I'm going to bring my arms in. I'm going to have this idea of folding as I turn, fold, and then press. When I press here, I want my hands ever so slight. Maybe 1 inch per hand, opening and that. Some schools like to bring palms on top of each other. I'm inclined to have my wrists, or my pulse, as one of my teachers called it, on top of one another. And not too high, not too low, but solar plexus height, maybe top hand, bottom hand, maybe just below that, 1 fist below. I've spun, 1, 2, left, right, 1. And I'm still looking straight. As I do the foot sweep, I'm going to look this way. 1, 2, and very small, discrete hands. Don't make it too big. Discrete. Up, and then drop, double punch. Now, where do you look? Common question. Some schools, straight down. Some schools, 45, and some schools, straight up. For me, 45, halfway in between. Hand position, is it 2 flat hands, or do you use nakadaka ken? Very, very easy to figure this out. Go to your sensei, ask them what they want you to do. Do you ki-ai, or don't you ki-ai on this move? Again, go to your sensei, ask them what they do. It is a common ki-ai point for a lot of schools to ki-ai on this double punch. So we're here, we look, forward, sweep. The sweep should come to about in line with your knee, this way. 1, 2, and then drop. And something that is a little bit more, maybe Jundokan flare, hands rub quite heavily on the inside of the thighs, and you drop a little bit deeper. Now I'm looking at the camera, and double punch, and looking 45. Okay, when I step back, my right leg is going to step back, and I'm going to do gedan barai. So let's run through in line with the camera so you can see everything. I've spun around, I'm 45 degrees to the back corner, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going to step 90 degrees. So I'm going to look, step 90 degrees, block with my right hand, left hand. Ideally, to get great lines, especially for competition karate, try practice along a line that is clearly demarcated. So that way you learn to step on the line accurately. So 1, I'm now on this front foot line. Now step onto that line. 2, 3, 4. Am I still on my line? And whoops, I'm a little bit off. So 1, there I'm on the line and block. Okay, and so this is how you practice to get the angle and the line very accurate. A lot of the time we see people going 1 or 1, then breaking the line, and then breaking the line. And so they lose that nice, beautiful straight line that you're working on. From camera, north-south line again, I want to step in line with my back foot. But it's a 1 heel toe. That's the first part. As that happens, I'm going to bring my hands behind my body ever so slightly. As I draw my left foot into cat stance, I'm now going to be able to release this. Nice, neat line. Very important. Again, we're preserving the line as we do this. Now, in this case, I might be showing a little bit too much hamni. Some schools like Segue. It's one of the few places we get to see hamni, Neko asidachi, where we're in this position. This hand is a hook or a fura zuki or mawashi zuki. This hand, sideways block. 1. Put this foot down. When you step through, don't step on the inside line, but you're actually going to try to step across it. And by stepping across it, you're going to create space for your hips to move to the next stance. So from here, step across the line, and then bring your back foot up onto the other side of the line so you can get to Kosa-dachi or ben sukudachi. I'm inclined to have my left leg. So left leg is going to be on the ball of the foot. Right leg is going to be flat foot. And I want to have enough position. I don't want to go so far that I've got my back to the front, but I want to have enough position that firstly I can execute the next technique. And then far enough forward so that when I pivot, I have got Sanshin Dutch going to the side. Okay? So the footwork in this point is very critical. So 1, down, hands will drop slightly, step through across the line, whoopsie, balance, and up, and 2. When I pivot on the balls of the feet, cover, hike-uke. And now I want to be at a side where I'm going to the side. In this case, if this is the front, I will be going to my right side. Okay, I've pivoted, I've turned, I'm now facing the right side, the front section of the kataneli. I'm going to pivot my feet, and I'm going to block, or I'm going to strike, whichever Bunkai, your sensei, says is the one to do. What is critical is that as I do that, this hand comes to this position. So we're here, 1, 2. I like to think more in the terms of gedan, chudan. When I was a little bit younger, the inclination was for a strange-looking fist where the thumb wasn't in its regular position, but was actually on the side, and the hand was slightly open so that you were, as my sensei said, knocking on the door. All right? And after that, we said, well, you were ringing the opponent's bells. Okay, so we're here. 1, 2. Again, don't hit forward. Your opponent is right here. So it's very much wrist. When I pivot, as I pivot, this hand automatically deflects. Then this hand can take over the control. I would be kicking, turning, uraken. Inclination being a little bit out, a little bit in. Okay, so as I was supposed to be doing it was that way, you'd have my back to the camera. So if we're here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Half a step up, exactly like Kokotsu. 1. If, for sake of camera, I'd gone this way, and we've now done 1, 2, 3. By the way, second set of options for ki point is this uraken, more commonly used by OGKK and Jundokan. Step 1, hike-uke, repeat 1, 2, 3, 4. We want to work towards getting good timing, and the tempo is critical. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're now going to step and turn your left leg, stepping, and now pulling your right foot in. Very similar to Seipai. This time your hands are on the center. Remember this movement? The same. Some people like to do this. I'm inclined to do this. Step back with the right, and now open your hands up like you're doing mawashi. But at the same time, bring your hands around and down. This is one way. All right? You can also bring your hands over your shoulder and down. Okay? This way works on the idea of block, catch, press, like mawashi. They fight back, you let go, you turn them around, pull them down. Clear and strike. The other way, this is where I learned. Hand position is very similar to the double punch in Kokotsu, but your hands are finishing slightly lower, and the idea is that you're executing and pulling the person down with some kind of throwing technique. So we're bringing the person down. We want them close by. And to facilitate that, we're probably going to need a little bit more energy. So 1, 2, 3. Once we've done this, push hands ever so slightly and strike. Unlike Seipai, now your hands are opposite. Fist to front leg, opposite. Step up, bring it up, down, open, and bow. The best way to practice Seipai is to break it up into linear components, and for the sake of sequence as well as accuracy of stepping, practice them somewhere where you've got lines that will force you to preserve your stances and to allow you to develop the correct body mechanics to move to the correct position. That's the first thing. The second thing is, the more you practice it like that, the better those transitional periods will become. Then all you have to do is put it together and then work on the actual transitional movement. That's that linking movement between, let's say, a movement to the front and a movement to the back. Good example, I've done up to here. I do one move, one. That's all I need to do to allow me to develop that transition. Okay, I do one move. I do forward, back. I finish here, one. And I just break the line, and that way, if I have a limited amount of space, I can train and work on it that way. Please bear with me when I break down the following relation to the videos that we've produced so far on Seipai Kata, or any kata. For most people who are not training the Bunkai first, but training the kata first and learning the sequence, they're obsessing about the sequence. The Western way of thinking is get the sequence a little bit, then learn a little bit of the Bunkai to improve how the sequence is performed, then fix the sequence a little bit more, learn a little bit more Bunkai, get that right, and thereafter do you start to explore the kata. A different way of viewing it is you learn the Kihon Bunkai, you learn a little bit of maybe Embusen Bunkai, where you're working a lot of techniques, one after the other in a line, working with a partner. Thereafter, you might do some flow drills so that you understand these movements are practical and pragmatic, because in flow drills, we tend to break away a little bit from the norm, and we tend to focus a little bit more on the pragmatic. And then you come back and they go, well, you remember all these things that you did? Well, they actually are a kata. And we piece together all the pieces and you get the kata. And thereafter, maybe a tweaking to get all the angles and lines 100% correct, because the kata is the textbook. Now, which side of the world you live on, which way you want to do this, it's up to the sensei and up to the person who's studying. But I do think it is very critical that if you are looking at the follow-along Seipai Kata, don't do it with just that in mind. Please go back and have a look at our videos on the basic Bunkai or some slightly more advanced Bunkai. I think we've got 2 or 3 videos on Seipai. We've also got the kata with all the variations to help you understand maybe what your school may be inclined to do. I don't cover everybody's way. There are so many different ways. But as long as you've equipped with the right amount of knowledge, you can go back to your dojo sensei and say to your sensei, please sensei, how would you like me to do this? And that way, when you're practicing at home, you will be developing better and better karate. More and more emphasis needs to be placed on that you practice your karate daily at home. And it comes back to something that we've been saying for a long time. The reason you come to a dojo is 3 reasons. 1, you come to receive corrections. 2, you maybe come to the dojo to train with a partner who maybe is traveling from the other side of town, and you're kind of meeting somewhere in the center where the dojo is. And 3, maybe the dojo has all the equipment that you do not have at home, and that allows you the opportunity to train and utilize dojo equipment to do the conditioning, which is synonymous with Goju Ryu karate. Okay, so please bear this in mind as you go forward. Please try and use this to the best of your ability. Go back and look at our other videos, and it may help in understanding the process. Somewhere in the future, there is definitely a flow drill in the pipeline coming on all the kata up to and probably including Seisan Kata. Suparinpei, many people are asking about it. Suparinpei, much later. We first want to get the basic content out for everything up to, let's say, Seipai Kururumfa, and then we will concentrate on the top end kata, Seisan Suparinpei. Okay, thank you very much. Please keep training wherever you are in the world. Thank you very much for the likes, the comments, the subscriptions, the super thanks, and for those people who have joined our membership. There's a live stream coming soon. Arigatou gozaimasu. Sayonara. Have a lovely day.